Today it looked like 50 or 100 with them. All right, here we go.
Out of turn 4, the pole winner has led the first lap in every Allstate 400, but it's the last lap that matters. Jeff Burton takes them to the green flag. They're racing at Indianapolis Live on NBC.
Do you think Jeff Burton wanted to lead that first lap at Indy?
Car owner Richard Childress had both cars on the front row. He told his drivers, race, don't wreck. Here at the beginning of the race, Casey Kane is second. There's Boyer in third, started outside the front row. Kane in the 9, Boyer the 07.
And this is one of those tracks, you know, we've talked in the past about the clean air. Being out front is important. This is a tough racetrack where if your car's not handling real well, you get behind another car and you lose the nose of the car. It won't turn.
Ooh, Kevin Harvick made a move there with Schrader alongside while Jimmy Johnson takes a position from Boyer.
Johnson moves into that third position.
Pretty much single file right now. A couple guys making some moves for positions.
Back around the 8th spot, it's Robbie Gordon, Kevin Harvick battling, and they were 3 wide across the start-finish line here.
Uh-oh, we got trouble with Elliott Sadler.
Sadler hard into the wall, first caution of the day here at Indianapolis. And his terrible weekend has somehow managed to get worse.
Guys, piss me off. I got to lose the tail getting in it too.
Yeah, that's what somebody was on the outside of him. Looks like they pinched him down real low.
I can't see any.
38 car was turning the car, just lost the air.
Already in progress at that point. Watch the right side of the screen here.
Yeah, he was just underneath somebody. This is one of those places too. You can't lean on somebody on the outside and go through the corner. Your car will get real loose if you do that. He just lost the air on the back of that car.
Yeah, but I think that was Joe Nemechek, yes it was, in the 01 that was on the outside of Elliott.
On board with Tony Stewart. So Elliott Sadler
Look, you want me to go to the garage?
heads back to the garage.
I heard him say, do you want me to go to the garage? The answer is yes.
Without a doubt.
We can't fix that on pit road.
He's been very frustrated here this weekend. Certainly not what they were hoping for. Their test didn't go well. Their weekend has not gone well, and their race day ends very early.
But one of these cars needs to run all day. I talked to Butch Hilton, one of the crew chiefs this morning. He feels like they might have found something that's going to help them for the rest of the year. So they really need to run 400 miles a day to see if, in fact, it is better.
He was pretty optimistic. I talked to him, too, and he was very upbeat. The pits will be open this time, but NASCAR has said no one can take fuel. That's an attempt to control the field because of the competition caution coming up at lap 15.
That's right. Cars would go in now, change tires, and put fuel in the car. They would not stop at lap 15. And of course, they can make to lap 40. That might not be a bad plan to stop now, change 4 tires, and try to run to 40 to get some track position.
Jeff Burton, the race leader, follows the pace car off of 4. And the leaders stay out. We'll take a break from the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. NBC's coverage of the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard is brought to you by Allstate, official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. By Nextel, only from Sprint. Get closer to the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series with Nextel. By Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR. This is Budweiser, this is beer. By Sony, the official high-definition television of NASCAR on NBC. And by Ford, bold moves. Field getting the one to go. We check with Marty Snyder.
And Bill, what a difference a year makes. Last year, Elliott Sadler had the best car here, the car to beat, and now he's out of it early. What happened?
I just got a little loose under the 0-1 getting into turn 2 and just kind of took the air off my spoiler. It's just 100% my fault. Just been a tough weekend. Like you said, last year was so great and promising. This year we've just struggled a little bit, but 100% my fault. I just want to apologize to everybody, Snickers and City Financial and Ford and Ray Bessis and everybody. It's just it's been a tough weekend for us, and thought I was going to be okay, but just when it just came around on me.
Earlier this week, Elliott said it was one of the toughest weekends of his entire career, Bill.
And it just continues today. All right, Benny, where are we going here?
Inside our Home Depot virtual garage, one concern, under the hood temperature is very, very high. This is the fuel pump. The exhaust here turns, it's about 1,100 degrees. Gets the fuel pump here very, very warm. That causes vapor lock. It boils the fuel inside the fuel pump. It happened to Sterling Marlin. Restart just a few laps ago. The car vapor lock, couldn't get it going. Jeff Gordon gets on the inside, goes on to win the Brickyard 400.
That can ruin your day.
It only takes just a little bit. Just one air bubble going through the carburetor just stops it.
And what it does is it stumbles. You know, when you're going to shift, what happens is, you know, you step on the gas and it kind of takes off and it stumbles a little bit, and that's all it takes for the guy behind you to go pass you.
That's the commitment cone at the entrance to pit road. Wanted to make sure it was out there. I think somebody missed the to-do list this morning.
In the drivers' meeting, they talked about the commitment cones in turn 2. They had some yesterday to keep the cars down from blending up on the racetrack. And yes, NASCAR said, yes, we'll pick those up. But I guess they forgot to put that one down.
And there is the commitment cone. And last year, it did not make it through the race. So just keep that in mind.
It made it under somebody's car.
Yes, it did. Went for a ride. Pace car to pit road. Jeff Burton, the race leader, with Casey Kane, Jimmy Johnson, Clint Boyer, and Greg Biffle in the top 5. We're racing again at the Brickyard. And watch the restarts throughout the day.
Well, he talked about in his opening on camera about just how difficult the restarts are here. And we see Casey Kane on the inside for the lead.
Casey Kane around Jeff Burton and into the lead. And here's something to think about. Jeff Burton won the pole. He was the second car to go out in qualifying. Casey Kane was the last car to go out and was pretty darn fast. How about it, Matt?
Bill, he almost won this race a year ago, like you mentioned, and he told me last night, like a family looking forward to vacation, he has looked forward to the Brickyard for the last year. Their car, they didn't feel like was quite as good as last year's, but a good top 5 car, and he's flexing his muscle early, Alan.
Jeff Burton has not said anything on his radio about his car's handling at this point. Obviously, he would like to have stayed out front, but Burton and team are looking to take care of this car. They want to get a feel for what's going on as far as these tires before they press too hard. And that's what's going on with Jeff Burton, who's fallen back to second.
Who's that?
On the outside?
Way off the pace. Jeff Gordon.
Very slow. 4-time winner of the Allstate 400, clearly off the pace.
Doesn't look like the car is running.
Yeah. Here we go for the lead. Wow.
Jeff Burton says, not today. Power move by that 31 car.
Go ahead, go there. Oh, there we go. You're asking me.
Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, I was just getting to Jeff Gordon's pit. I believe he's got a tire going down. That is the case. It's confirmed to me. Jeff Gordon with a tire going down. Now, earlier today, his crew chief, Steve Letarte, told me that he was going to not be concerned if they got lapped early in this race. He said, I think there are going to be a lot of cautions because of the tire situation. If we get a lap behind, we'll get a lucky dog pass to get back on the lead lap. They're upset here now, but they're not going to let it get to them. This is something they thought about already earlier in the day.
See, Greg Biffle has moved by the 07 of Boyer into the 4th position.
There's Gordon slowly down pit road.
Oh,
and again, as we've talked about throughout the Bank of America countdown to green and earlier in the race, tires are expected to be a huge factor here today. A competition caution coming in about 6 or 7 laps here in Indianapolis. The field roars by as Gordon creeps down pit road, AB.
And they're going to make a 4-tire change on this 24 car. You notice they're not putting any fuel in. Not allowed to do that before the competition caution. So in a way, that's a bad break for Jeff, that they're not allowed to basically stay out when these other guys have to stop. They've already told Jeff on the radio, the crew chief has, we're going to lose a lap. Now they're saying there might be something broken under the left front corner of the car. You see the crew chief, the crewman rather, signaling there. Listening for the radio traffic. We'll follow up as Jeff leaves.
Well, if he's the only car a lap down, then he will get the lucky dog at lap 15.
Right. But yeah, let's go on that, AB, because it didn't look like one of his tires were flat.
And here comes the field off of 4. Down the 5/8 of a mile front stretch at Indianapolis. Burton, Kane, Jimmy Johnson, Biffle. It's Clint Boyer in 5th. One crew chief told me this morning he had 18 sets of tires.
Boyer just taking over 4th spot. Greg Biffle.
400 miles.
Marty?
Well, Clint Boyer started 2nd, Bill, and now he's fallen back, or actually up to the 4th position. And I talked to his crew chief, Gil Martin, this morning, and he said, you know, I'm going to tell him that this is a marathon today. It's not a sprint. Do not try to win this in the first run. Take it easy on those tires. They know they have a car that can win. Clint's biggest problem, he doesn't have the experience here at Indianapolis. He doesn't know how to pass other cars here. They want him to feel out the racetrack, get a feel for this race, let it come to him, and then go for it aggressively in the second half of the race. But in the first half of this race, just take it easy.
Among the drivers on the move, Tony Stewart up to 19th. Kurt Busch up to 25th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. up to 20th. They all started deep in the field. Casey Kane started near the front, staying at the front, Matt.
Bill pulling a number of crew chiefs this morning in the garage. They pointed the RCR cars, especially the 31, as the car to beat. Now Casey Kane has dropped back to 2nd, but he is gauging where the 31 of Burton makes his entry and exit as to how much he is off from Burton. Now they're going to make a small chassis adjustment. The 9 a little on the tight side, AB.
Story. That's what it...
Go ahead, Alan.
The story on Jeff Gordon's car, sorry, a little chaotic down here, Bill.
I'll bet.
The story on Jeff Gordon's car was not a flat tire. There's a bolt that is broken that holds the front anti-sway bar in place. That's what appears to be dragging under the car. They're telling Jeff on the radio to hold on until that competition caution comes so they can try and fix it without losing any more laps.
And that's just a few laps away.
And you can see how that car's rolling. See how the right front is down on the racetrack right now? That's what the car does when you don't have that bar hooked up, and that's not going to be good.
See, the left front is way high in the corners. The car is rolling over instead of having that bar hooked up to keep it from doing that. So when he goes in the corner, that left front's supposed to just go right down the racetrack, but it's lifted up.
And 42 guys are about to pass him.
Yeah, that's going to put him 2 laps down.
So early problems for the 4-time winner of the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard.
I think he's just going to come in and get it fixed now. No, Salma, he is way off the pace with that thing broken like that.
Doesn't matter. He's still going to get the lucky dog and get a lap back. Then you beat.
And now Jeff Gordon is being warned to pick up his speed. You must meet the minimum speed,
which is 56.25 seconds.
His last lap was a 59.5.
You have to run 56.51. So he's got to pick up 3 seconds.
But what has he got? One more lap?
It was about lap 15, right, BP?
About
lap 15. And that's what we're working next time around.
Tony Stewart behind his teammate, Denny Hamlin in the 11. Jamie McMurray, 26, directly in front of those guys, and there we see him bringing the parts out to pit road to try to repair it.
And that's one thing. The garage stalls and the haulers are a long way from pit road here at Indianapolis.
But another good thing for Jeff Gordon is this is a 2.5-mile racetrack. So they can get a lot done under a yellow. If you were at Bristol or on a 1 mile,
right,
you may lose some more laps.
And that's one thing you had to watch out for, those fast cars coming around a very slow car. The closing rate is tremendous. Did you see J.J. Allen and Tony Stewart there, or Denny Hamlin and Tony Stewart there? Was Hamlin trying to get out of the way and Tony went the same way?
Either that or Denny Hamlin was blocking Tony.
No, I don't think that was it. No, I don't think that was it. There's Stewart in that orange 20, Home Depot Chevy.
Going by McMurray, taking another spot. That's 15th. The next car he has to pass is Carl Edwards in 99. Dave, what's Tony Stewart saying about that 20 car, Dave?
Decent shape. When Tony says we're in decent shape, I think he's pretty confident about his race car, and that was his radio communication back to the crew here. And speaking of that, one of the things these guys experienced today is that it's hard to communicate when the car's on the backstretch. They have a small window of time when their radios can hear each other when they come down the front straightaway. On the backstretch, very hard to hear and communicate with your team.
And that's been a problem since they started coming here in '94.
Well, my guess is caution is out.
The caution is out. We'll come back and cover the pit stops. You're watching the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard live on NBC. Working lap 17 at the Brickyard. The caution flag is out. The field coming to pit road under a competition caution because of tire issues here in this race. Down to pit road, here's Dave Burns.
And Tony Stewart has been doing what he needs to do. Pass cars on the racetrack, hopefully having a fast pit stop. Air out of the right front tire. He needs the car to turn just a little bit better. Just a little air pressure adjustment on that right front should take care of Tony. Matt.
Casey Kane pulls into his pit box. Look for a track bar adjustment. Casey said the only issue he had the car was a tick on the tight side on entry into 1 and turn 3. Track bar adjustment complete. No air pressure changes for the 9. AB.
And in the top left box, the leader, Jeff Burton, going to get a 4-tire change. Watch a wrench right there to be spun around. That's a track bar adjustment that controls the position of the rear end housing under the car. Jeff wants help getting his car to turn a little bit better in the center of the corners, and he is going to keep that first position off pit road. Jeff Gordon's team, Jeff Gordon's team is going to bring him in, and they're going to, oh, somebody's got a tire. How about that? Jeff Gordon's team. Look for them to make the tire change on the car and then to go to work trying to fix that sway bar on the car. They're going to try and do it without losing any more laps. There they go underneath the corner of the car. First they have to see if he's ground anything off the parts that were dragging on the racetrack, and then they'll try and get him out without losing any more laps and see what the damage is.
Well, you would think they'd ground off something on that right side, don't you, BP?
You would think.
That thing was really rolling over.
Could he feel it if that was happening?
Oh, absolutely.
So they continue to work on the car of Jeff Gordon on pit road. Among the drivers on the move. Tony Stewart has gained 17 positions at the caution. Dale Earnhardt Jr. 12. Kurt Busch 16, and Kyle Busch up 11. Jeff Burton is the leader. Problems for Jeff Gordon at Indianapolis. Thanks, Alan. They passed up the lucky dog, so Gordon does not get a lap back. The green is out. Just throw this in real quick. Dale Jarrett ran out of fuel here a few years ago, made up 4 laps. And that was without the benefit of the lucky dog. Jeff Gordon has to hope for one thing, that everybody else stays on the lead lap.
You know, Jeff Gordon, his winning the Brickyard 400 is one concern, but his biggest concern right now is making the top 10 in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup.
That's right. I was looking over at the board over there, BP, and he's got a lot of cars he needs to pass today.
He's out. Right now he's showing an 11th position.
Oh, crash. Caution is out.
Boris said?
Yes.
Boris said.
See the spring?
Yeah.
Right behind his name.
There's 2 springs. If that camera drops down a little bit, there's another one laying down there. There's the other one.
Oh my gosh.
That's hitting the wall pretty hard.
Both rear springs.
Boris, the veteran road racer. Raced his way into this field, started 43rd today.
Boris got turned.
Yeah, Reed Sorensen in 41. Well, Reed Sorensen about wrecked twice there, didn't he?
Sure did. Jeff Gordon is the lucky dog. He will get one of his laps back. He's currently scored 4 laps down. Good to see Boris is okay. Pit road will be open this time. Marty, what are you working on?
Well, Bill, after the last caution, as soon as the green flag came out, Kurt Busch came on the radio, asked his team, did you get all the lug nuts tight? He said the left front has a big vibration. He wasn't sure if it was the brakes or lug nuts, but just to be safe, they're going to come to pit road, see if it was indeed lug nuts. If that is the case, it's actually good. The caution, a great benefit for these guys. They can get these changed under yellow.
We'll keep an eye on the 2 car of Kurt Busch and take a break from the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard, where Jeff Burton leads Jimmy Johnson and Casey Kane. Here are our Chevy drivers to watch in the Brickyard 400 this afternoon.
You can see they've had some success in 2006. Jimmy Johnson, the leader, with 3 wins.
Jeff Gordon has a long way to come back. And Denny Hamlin's 2 wins, both coming at Pocono, and of course Stewart won here a year ago. Matt on tires.
Bill, before that competition caution, a lot of anxious crew chiefs up and down pit road. Now these are the tires that came off, specifically the right front off Casey Kane's car. You can see a small little isolated incident down into the radio, but really talking to crew chiefs up and down pit road, things seem fairly clean. So that's good news for teams concerning tire wear. Marty?
Matt, for Kurt Busch, it was good news. It was a loose right front tire. They got to change that under caution. But now the problem is he's got to work his way back through the field once again. But obviously he had a fast car the first time. He should be able to do it again. At least they hope so.
Thanks, guys. Big day of sports here on NBC. The Allstate 400 at the Brickyard this afternoon. And tonight, the NFL returns to NBC. Al and John will have the Hall of Fame game. The Raiders and the Eagles. That's 8 Eastern time tonight, right here on NBC. Look at all the people. Love coming to Indianapolis. There's Jeff Green's car, and he's got a passenger on the side. Randy Moss. See him in action tonight. See everybody in action right now. Green flag is out. Johnson in second. Kane wants it. Casey Kane in the 9. Jimmy Johnson the 48.
And I'll tell you what, Casey Kane's car, he can get down low in those corners. And a lot of the guys you see drift up a little bit, but that 9 car is glued to the bottom of the racetrack. And if he can, that's how you pass cars here in Indianapolis. Guy can slide up a little bit. If you can keep your car down right on that white line or below it, you're going to pass a lot of cars. And he has a second place finish here from a year ago, Kane does, and a 4th place from 2 years ago. And in both those races, the car basically did the same thing. Exactly the same thing. That it looks like that left front is just glued to the racetrack.
Last year, I was impressed with Casey Kane. He could run higher up in that second group better than about any other driver here.
Well, it was one of the best battles of the year, Kane and Stewart, right here at Indianapolis. And one of the most fun.
See Matt Kenseth, the 17 car. Everyone talks about being fast. Gets by the 18.
And Harvick takes a spot away from Boyer in the 07 car.
Okay, let's get an update on the 24 from Allen.
With his crew chief, Steve Letarte. What broke?
It appears somehow the sway bar arm came off the sway bar, but we got it repaired. Jeff did a spectacular job, only losing a couple laps, and a little bit of luck here. We're going to be right back in it.
Is it 100% repaired?
Good as new.
Thanks, Steve.
And Jeff Gordon has scored 2 laps down. The lucky dog basically gave him a lap and a half back.
Kenny Hamlin, 11 car. Taking a spot away from Kenny Schrader.
And there is Gordon. Car looks a little different this week. DuPont selling an aftermarket paint product called Hot Hues. Same paint scheme he ran at California earlier in the year. Gordon has scored 41st. Elliott Sadler is out of the race. He is retired from the race. Boris said back in the garage after that crash.
And don't you think Jeff's just kind of riding BP? All he's waiting for is another yellow. It may hit him with all that debris. But he's just kind of riding right now because there's no sense of just trying to kill yourself and working your way up through the field. If yellow comes out, you're going to get to pass these guys easy way.
And he's got at least one yellow coming.
Right.
Competition caution coming up about lap 40. Teams were told that in the driver crew chief meeting this morning here at the Brickyard. So Gordon can save his stuff and hope the race comes to him instead of trying to chase it down. More from Allen.
Hey, Bill, just follow up on what you guys were talking about, and the crew has already told Jeff to be in the position he's in until the competition caution. That'll get him back to one lap down. Then they feel like they can race their way back through and get another lucky dog and be right back in the thick of things. They are still very optimistic in the Gordon pit.
And when you're one lap down, you get up there next to Jeff Burton and you try to earn it back.
Chad Chappell with his hand out the window there, signaling to Gordon, telling Jeff to go by on the inside. Here's Matt Kenseth, former series champion, runs in 6th, and Marty's got an ad.
And as BP would say, he's going somewhere. Isn't that right, BP?
He is.
From 20th to 6th for Matt Kenseth. And you talked about him quitting happy hour early yesterday. You know, Matt saw all the tire problems other teams were having. He said to the crew, you know, I'm fairly happy with the car. And if it's all the same to you guys, see all these guys having problems, let's just quit happy hour early. And they all said, okay, sounded good to them. And they have a terrific race car. They thought about making some changes because of the mandated tire pressures NASCAR came down with this morning to the race car. They said, you know what, it was so good yesterday, let's leave it alone. Obviously a fast race car, feel like they can win this race finally here at the Brickyard today.
He's past the 0-7 of Boyer and half a dozen car lengths away from him.
3rd here a year ago for Matt, 2nd, 16th, and 5th in the last 4 races at the Brickyard.
Scott Riggs in the 10 car is running 10th, and right behind him Carl Edwards.
Yeah, but look who's behind Carl Edwards.
Running 11th, and right behind him Tony Stewart.
Dave.
And he's picked up 20 positions, Bill. 32 minus 12. That's 20 positions for Tony Stewart on the day. So he's been one of those guys that have been driving his car very hard. So you might wonder what his tires look like when they came off. Checked with the crew, looked at it myself. Very good. And as the crew put it, and he was hustling the race car.
Now, judging from the pre-race, Tony Stewart has put Pocono behind him, and Carl Edwards has not.
That's right. Well, because Carl Edwards was on the receiving end of that deal, so.
I believe the word Carl used was moron.
And I believe I'd be real surprised if Tony gets to him. I think he will give Carl more than enough room because he knows, listen, I know this guy's mad at me. I'm going to try to race him as clean as possible. And Carl Edwards is going, boy, this guy better race me clean as possible. Or
I talked to Carl on Friday, and he said he is so mad at Tony Stewart, he doesn't even want to think about it. He's concentrating on one thing, the next 5 races to get the points back. Let's take a lap for Tony.
Yeah, this is such a cool place. It's a very flat racetrack going down the back stretch here. 200 miles per hour as you enter these corners. You roll out of the gas. You use a little bit of brake. You try to get the car down the bottom. You get right back after the gas, and you drive it right up to the wall as close as you possibly can off the gas. Pick it up a little bit here, and then just try to get after it as hard as you can, as fast as you can. You use a lot of racetrack, and you'll see these cars get right up against the wall. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to arc the car into the corner, and that wall is there, and they're just using every inch of the racetrack to help arc the cars into the corners.
You talked about using a little bit of brake. This morning, Wally, all these cars had 3 brake hoses going to the brake. Yeah. They are using unbelievable amount of brakes just to get these cars to slow down to go through the corner. They're pushing so much in the corner, they got to check up the speed some way to get them to turn.
Tony Stewart started 32nd today, wants to win, but knows patience is the key to getting there.
I think with the way our race played last year, and we weren't at the front of the race you know, early in the day like we've been accustomed to here when we've got good. So, you know, it's nice having our experience last year to where if we do qualify toward the back, that, you know, we're cautious enough to be, you know, be patient at the beginning of the race and keep the big goal in mind, I think, now.
This race is 160 laps. Basically, the first 100 laps get you into position, and then 60 laps to race for the title at the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard. Tony didn't lead until lap 100 last year. Right now, Jeff Burton is the race leader over Casey Kane. Burton started from the pole. Up front, plans to stay there.
Very fast chassis setup in yesterday's final practice, but he wasn't sure how confident to be in it because they were so awful all weekend. 7th to 4th, so far, so good. And Kevin Harvick very quietly running in the top 5. Harvick, the 2003 winner of this event, feels he has a very strong car. He knows what it takes to get the victory lane here. Could he join the list of multiple winners today? Marty?
Well, Alan, despite his move from 20th to 6th on the racetrack, Matt Kenseth not very happy with the chassis of his 17 car right now. A little loose into the corner, meaning slides around too much in the middle. He said the car just won't turn. And when he comes off the corner, it's too loose as well. So several things to fix for the 17 much. Also concerned about the distance between him and the front runners, Matt.
Mark Martin reports his car is just a hair tighter than it was before the competition caution. Not sure exactly what he wants to make changes now to try to loosen it up, but the car much better than it was in practice. He needs a maximum point cut a day, Marty. He hasn't had a top 5 finish since May.
Matt Clint Boyer is an Indianapolis rookie. If he can win today, he'll become just the 4th winner in Indy history, a 4th rookie winner in Indy history. When you walk in this track for the very first time, it is an experience you never forget.
Yeah, you just got to let it sink in. You know, hey, you finally made it to Indianapolis. This is what you worked your whole life for, to come here to a track like this and, you know, even be able to participate, let alone you know, be second on the board. That's pretty cool.
He was second on the board in qualifying. Right now, he's not quite second. Currently, he is 8th in the field with a tight race car. Behind him is the man, Carl Edwards. His car also tight. Won't turn in the center of the corner. Yes, that's Carl Edwards in the orange, purple, and white car. He said the car just won't turn. Same car, believe it or not, that they wrecked at Pocono. A lot of hours went into this car getting it ready for Indy. Matt?
J.J. Yaley will tell you he probably has more experience here at Indy than any other racetrack. Between the IRL and testing in his Cup car, he has logged so many laps. The car, a tick on the tight side. He has tried to change his line down into 1 to help. Dave?
Matt, his teammate Tony Stewart restarted 14th, has worked his way up to 11th. Remember, they had 2 problems during that first run. They tried to fix them both. Unfortunately, they made the loose off the corner a little bit worse on this run. Alan?
Well, Scott Riggs started. Oh, Jimmy Johnson got some trouble.
48 blew a left front tire, or he's got a problem on the left front.
He was going down the front stretch when it happened, so he should be over on the back stretch. There he is, off the pace. We're right at lap 40 where NASCAR had said there would be a competition caution around lap 40, and you see that tire starting to disintegrate.
And he can't go fast because
the caution is out.
The tire will come apart and just destroy the fender if he isn't careful. And we saw this several times last year, left front tires.
But like Bill says, did he have contact with somebody there? Looks like he's got a dent on the left front. I don't know what that.
Have to go back and take a look.
Yeah.
What were you starting to make?
I was just going to say, you're right. If that tire starts coming apart, he's done, because it'll rip that left front fender right off the car.
Mike Skinner.
Mike Skinner made an unscheduled pit stop. Just as the caution came out, he goes back on the racetrack. He's 1 lap down. He becomes a lucky dog. Tough break for Jeff Gordon.
Gordon scored 41st, basically 2 laps down. So there's Johnson slowly bringing that car back to pit road. Now here's the replay. 3rd car back. We're going to start on a freeze.
We see him going to the inside.
Yeah, he knows something's up right there. You can see the left front fender is already dragging the racetrack. So it doesn't look like he made any contact. It looks like the tire just went down.
He has not had a lot of luck here at Indianapolis. Remember the hard hit he took in this race 1 year ago.
He had a left front tire go flat yesterday in practice.
This will be the competition caution that NASCAR talked about in the drivers' meeting. They said it would come out about lap 40. We had one earlier in the race. This is the check tire wear. Alan?
Well, Bill, remember Jimmy Johnson told us before this race he was very nervous about the situation today with the tires. Didn't know how hard to press, just wanted to get a top 10 finish. Said a top 5 would be like a win. You can see the casing, the outer casing on that left front tire is gone. In fact, the inner liner is gone. They're checking to see what kind of damage they might have done to the car underneath on the flat tire running around the track. Crew Chief Chad Knaus calling out on the radio for his team to check it over good and make sure everything looks okay. They're going to send Jimmy out, try and keep him without losing another lap.
Thanks, Alan.
Now that's a burnout.
You see the fuel. Dave?
Tony Stewart on pit road. He radioed to the crew. I'm about a 3 or a 4 loose off the corner right now. They're going to make a track bar adjustment and air pressure adjustment for that. Of course, he will take 4 fresh tires. Matt?
Dodge boys have made headway for Casey Kane's number 9. The car's still tight, but not as bad as it was earlier in the race. Oh, the tire changer slips in fuel that was spilled coming around the car. Marty.
Remember, he told you Matt Kenseth was both loose and tight. They take a half pound of the right rear tire to fix the loose condition, quarter round of wedge in the right rear to fix the tight condition, and a slow stop, Allen.
And you see the leader, Jeff Burton, getting a 4-tire change and leaving that haze hanging over the pit area. When Jimmy Johnson left his pit, there was apparently a small amount of fuel spillage from the stop. It caught on fire. The fire crew here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway immediately hit it with the fire extinguishers. No problem down on pit road, but it did create a little fog for some of these guys to drive through leaving pit road.
Now here's what Alan was talking about.
Wally talked about being a burnout. That was a burnout, like you said.
That was a burnout.
And the safety crews here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, among the best you'll find anywhere. We'll take a break under caution at Indianapolis.
Now, he is going to dig.
He's
trying to get that one, at least one of them back.
And now he's going to find out if they really fixed his car.
Yes.
Jeff
Burton's hoping they did.
Yeah.
To a point.
Just ducking our points really quick here. 6 races, including today, before the chase begins.
That's how we started today in the points.
And they'll change throughout the day. So Gordon 2 laps down on the inside. Jeff Burton, the race leader. He's led 41 of the 43 laps.
Got a great start. Didn't even give Jeff Gordon the opportunity. Here comes Harvick on the inside of Gordon. They all want by Gordon.
I'll tell you, you get a guy like that a lap down if you can keep him down.
Absolutely. No friends here right now.
Exactly
Sorry,
right.
Jeff.
Oh, here we go. 3 wide back there. Martin going by Casey Kane.
I'll tell you, I think that 6 car is something to watch today. Mark hasn't been overly strong the last few weeks, but you know what it would mean for him to win at Indianapolis. More on Mark from Matt.
And he'd love to get Jack Roush a winner's trophy for the car owner here on the inside. Now Mark's car free in, free off, a little tight in the center, but they're trying to work on that loose condition more. Made a significant track bar adjustment. He'll be able to tell him in a couple more laps if they definitely made some big improvement on that car. And that 9 car right behind him, Casey Kane trying to work his way back to the front. His car ticked on the tight side as well.
2 of the cars they were talking about in the garage this morning.
That was pretty strong. Gordon stayed and kept that position there. All those guys were lined up trying to draft by him.
But what's happened, Jeff Gordon's got all those cars behind him jammed up a little bit.
And that allows Jeff Burton and Greg Biffle to race for the lead. There's Robbie Gordon in the 7 inside of Brian Vickers. Denny Hamlin in the 11.
7 car has shown some strength here this weekend, qualifying in practice.
There's Kenseth taking a look underneath Casey Kane.
Here are the updated points. We showed you how they started the day. These are updated through lap 47. Kenseth under Kane.
Gonna take that spot.
And we see that Jeff Gordon has disappeared from top 10, and 12th. Earnhardt Jr.'s gone by him.
Now Carl Edwards on the inside.
Yeah. I think Casey this year needs that low line, BP. I mean, it doesn't look like he's been very strong on the high side.
Ah, here we go.
Tony Stewart, Carl Edwards, old friends getting together at Indy. Stewart takes the position.
Carl just started to drive harder a few seconds ago.
Little extra motivation, huh?
Casey Kane, how many spots has he lost? 5 or 6 since the green flag?
He was 4th.
There's Carl. I didn't think he was just going to let that go by. I'm sorry, but...
Marty, you watching this?
Oh, yeah, just a little fun between a couple old friends, right, guys?
Yes, sir.
They're having some fun. Carl's car is extremely hard to turn, but I think he was driving it harder than he ever had that entire time he was trying to pass Tony. So that makes the car usually a little bit tighter the harder you drive it, doesn't it, Wally?
Well, it just got easier to turn, I think, but... mile per hour here. 197. Man, that's flying around here. One of those tanks.
And folks, you wonder why these cars don't have speedometers.
Because you don't want to know.
Yeah, would you like to look down and see 197? I don't think so.
Yeah. Jimmy Johnson restarted 38th on lap 45, Alan.
And he's picked up 5 spots since then, Bill. I just talked to Chad Knaus, the crew chief, asked him if there was any other major damage on the left front of the car, and he said no, everything's fine. They have made an air pressure adjustment, and they've told Jimmy that the car is fine. Jimmy responded on the radio, yeah, but I'm nervous how hard to push it coming back up through this traffic.
And Jeff Gordon is 2 laps down. No cars are a single lap down, so the caution did come out. Gordon would be the lucky dog. Problem earlier in the race put Gordon 3 laps down.
And whenever you have a tire, when there is a tire issue or a track issue or whatever, people are having tires go down. Driver starts thinking about that. You know, especially as that when he hit the wall last year of a tire going down. You know, I mean, that just starts playing in the back of your mind. You just start thinking about it going, man, maybe I don't need to be as aggressive on this steering wheel right now, because I don't want another tire blow.
And he saw what happened yesterday when Kurt Busch blew that left front tire. He took the wall and just killed that 2 car.
More from Allen.
Hey, just to follow on this discussion, I talked with Jimmy Johnson about this very topic, about this race, the tire situation, and so on, when we were riding around in the pickup truck during Bank of America Countdown to Green. He told me being the championship leader makes him especially nervous about this situation today. He knows he's got a race to work with, but he doesn't want to have a bad finish and fall back into the clutches of that big pile of drivers in points from 3rd on down. He knows their place in the chase is not clinched yet. He doesn't want to give a lot of ground up here today.
Yeah, and it's not like, oh, he's afraid of hitting the wall. I mean, you know, that's not it. He's afraid of hurting the car, and he's afraid to lose those points.
Right.
You know, and it's not like, you know, he's lost any bravery here. He's just trying to be smart and get a finish at it.
Well, basically, he doesn't want what happened last year to happen this year, because he came here as a favorite in this race, came here as the championship leader, ended up knocking down the wall, didn't finish well in the race, obviously, after this hit, lost the championship lead. Tony Stewart won the race, left here with the points lead, and Tony went on to race to the championship. This is the race that really took the air out of their sails 1 year ago.
And what did he say last year? He remembered hitting the wall and really didn't remember anything else for a good while.
We got, looks like smoke coming out of that left front again. Man, it looked like I saw smoke coming out of there.
But we are being told that there is a possible tire rub on the 48. We'll keep an eye on that. 52 laps are in the book at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jeff Burton leads Greg Biffle, Kevin Harvick, Mark Martin, and Matt Kenseth.
It looks like he ran in the back of someone that might have knocked that fender in on the tire. When he hits brakes, it goes down and rubs that left front tire.
Yeah, because we saw that when they were in the pits, and there was a little bit of a damage, a little bit of a crinkle on that left front of the nose. Doesn't take much. They run these bodies so close to these tires now.
Goes around Tony Raines in the DLP Chevy. Troy Aikman and Roger Staubach. Little wave out the window, getting some air in there. Rains is. We'll race today and then watch the Hall of Fame game tonight right here on NBC. This is a little deep in the field. Let's take you up front, go through the field. Allen has race leader Jeff Burton.
Well, Bill, so far, pretty flawless day for Jeff Burton in that 31, taking advantage of winning pole position to keep clean air on the nose of that car and keep it out in front. Still going back and forth with his crew chief on how to continue to make this car better. Greg Biffle up to second place. His crew chief Doug Richard told me this morning they were going to play defense today, protect their place in the championship. What's the best defense? A good offense, like win the race and get the most points. Kevin Harvick has run from 10th to 3rd in the opening laps of this race. Kevin doesn't say much on the radio when things are going well. It's been pretty quiet on the 29 team's radio so far today. Matt?
Mark Martin, the 6, almost won this race back in 1998, trying to close in on the 29 of Harvick. We got a caution on the racetrack.
Caution is out, Matt. You're correct.
Good news for, some damage in that Mayfield.
We'll wait to get it officially, but Jeff Gordon should be the lucky dog here.
They get one of his 2 laps back.
And I was watching the screen right before that yellow came out, and Jeff Gordon was about in the top 3 as far as lap times.
See if we can find out what happened to Jeremy. Watch the right side of your screen. Shoots up the track.
I tell you what, if you get out of the groove here with all this rubber laying around, it is treacherous. It looks like that what might have happened to Jeremy. Just got up a little bit high, couldn't get it to turn.
Jeff Gordon is the lucky dog. And again, he will restart alongside the race leader.
Might get a better restart this time, though.
Have a little more confidence in that car?
Yeah, a little more confidence, and you know what the guy on the outside is going to do.
Let's go ahead and pay off our singular race talk poll question. You come to the Brickyard, you race for the win, or you play it safe, take your points and go home. How'd you vote?
Absolutely.
I can't believe 33% voted to play it safe. Huh. I figured that would be a 90 to 10.
I did too. Which way did you go?
Well, I gambled for the win.
That's what you said in the beginning of the show. So
they show the prize money before we ask that question.
So Jeff Burton will bring the field to pit road with 67 laps complete. Be a busy place down there and not a lot of room to maneuver.
Got to be careful.
Dave?
Tony Stewart again making his way down pit road. They did make some improvement on that last run. Tony complaining that the car is loose in the center, means it wants to spin out, but it's not as bad as it was. They're going to make a wedge and air pressure adjustment. Matt?
Mark Martin, just a touch on the free side. Look for just an 1/8 of an inch chassis adjustment. They just got the wrench in the window. No air pressure changes for Martin. Marty?
Matt Carl Edwards running 4th in the right now, and they said the car just way too tight. They're kind of resolved to the fact they're going to be tied all day long. Quarter down on the right rear wedge bolt. Alan?
Going to be a 4-tire change for Jeff Burton. They're going to undo a 0.2 of a pound air pressure adjustment they made on the last stop. 0.2 of a pound went too far. Burton will not be first off pit road this time.
Evidently, Ryan Vickers in that 25 car has decided to do a little strategizing. My guess is that's fuel only or 2 tires.
Our guys will check on it. We'll find out. By the way, you brought up the purse. Today is only $9.3 million on the line here at Indy.
Great opportunity.
Biffle loses the spot to his teammate Matt Kenseth. Here comes Mark Martin driving by.
Well, Biffle's car's pretty good. Also, I mean, it's got great lap times here right before that caution came out.
And watch Casey Kane going by on the outside, attempting to pass Biffle on the outside. Battle for the 2nd position. Here comes Harvick. And Matt Kenseth looking on the inside of his teammate Edwards.
Oh, he's going to get him.
Dave, more on Vickers?
Well, what do you guys think about taking 2? We've seen it work so far. Nobody really reporting problems. So Brian Vickers' team did take 2 tires only on the right side. And according to the driver, he said track position is where it's at. And he's got a good track position right now.
And thank goodness that I had much to do about nothing on tire situation. It was a concern because obviously of the caution flags that NASCAR threw.
Marty, you watching Carl Edwards?
I'm watching him go to the front, Bill. They have an awfully fast race car, as BP's pointed out a couple of times today. They're telling Carl, you know, take it easy, take your time, don't push it too early in the run here. But Carl's excited because his car is not only good at the beginning of the run, but especially good at the end of the run as he takes that position, Matt.
BP, you were wondering earlier about the 9 of Casey Kane, how he started to fade. What happened was he just got back in traffic. The car does not react well to dirty air as he dives on the inside of the 25. When he has a little more clean air, he says the car completely different. They tried to free him up some more with another track bar adjustment.
I don't think that 25 car is reacting real good on 2 tires either.
Doesn't seem to work too well.
Because he's losing that track position in a hurry.
Just to update Tony Stewart, he currently runs in the 29th position after the problem on pit road.
Biffle takes that spot back from Casey Kane.
Vickers losing another spot to Denny Hamlin, 11, and maybe even J.J. Yaley.
So next time you stop, you want 2 tires or 4 tires?
I mean, it was a good gamble. You got to see if it's going to work out. But obviously, I mean, like I said, you're losing a lot of track position every lap here. And they've just been green for what, 3 laps?
Right. Robbie Gordon on the move.
Oh, he got in the corner just a little bit too hard there. Did the 7 car.
Matt, you working Robbie's pit?
Well, he's been loose most of the day, Bill. They've tried different adjustments to tighten him up. The car, though, having a very solid run. This is going to be a great stretch, Robbie thinks, the next 4 weeks. All places that he feels this team can not only score top 10s, but contend for some wins.
Well, I would almost guarantee next week at Watkins Glen that he will be a contender in this 7 car.
The thing about watching Robbie at Indianapolis, you have to watch almost with one eye closed because the luck he's had, you just don't know when it's going to land on him. Up to the 7th spot. He's one of the many drivers with really strong ties to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Got some more, Matt?
Well, Bill, he'll tell you the biggest heartbreak of all back in 1999. Coming to the white flag in Indianapolis 500, he ran out of fuel. He's had similar luck in the Cup car, but he feels like the luck, like you mentioned, maybe is changing.
For his sake, you hope so. Scott Riggs in the 10, Clint Boyer in the 07. There's Kurt Busch right behind him. Busch in the backup car, Marty.
And here he comes again, Bill. They've come from the back twice today, and Kurt is doing his best job of trying to be patient coming up to the field. And couple that with the fact that he's had an extremely tight race car. It's been hard to turn in the corners. They've made several adjustments on all their stops, and yet he still continues to work his way back up to the field on this run from 38th to 17th. Dave?
As far as Dale Earnhardt Jr. goes, his car has been very, very tight, and he's been wanting it looser and looser. Now, his cousin, Tony Eury Jr., is the crew chief on that car. In a way that you can only talk to your cousin, Jr. radioed in before the last pit stop. Is it loose enough? Come on, get to it. So Tony Jr. put 4 rounds up on that track bar to try to loosen that thing up for Jr.
4 rounds.
Jeff Burton continues to lead here at Indianapolis. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll take you through the field in the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard. At the top up there, and you still can't see the whole track from up there either. But it is a spectacular place. And you have to think how happy Richard Childress is today and where his cars are on the track and in the points after they have struggled for so long to get back to the top.
Yeah, Richard has not been afraid to make changes. And I'll tell you what, Carl Edwards is coming. I think Harvick looked up in the mirror and said, you know what, I better get going.
Well, we better get going too. Through the field, starting with the race leader, Jeff Burton. Here's Alan.
You know, Jeff Burton was very quick yesterday in a press conference here at the racetrack, Bill, to credit Richard Childress for wholesale changes through his team. Brought in new people in the engine department, the engineering department, the chassis building department, the aerodynamicist. As Kevin Harvick goes through for the lead, Burton says Richard Childress still has the fire to win races and championships. I just finished talking to Todd Derrier, Kevin Harvick's crew chief, a moment ago. He said everything is going fine, and he really wasn't sure how hard Kevin was pushing it. He thought Kevin might have been holding back a little bit, trying to save some tires for later. Martin?
Alan, the RCR teammates have a Roush duo coming behind them. Carl Edwards with a fast race car. And yesterday they said this car was, quote, terrible. Today they threw everything at it, changed almost the entire setup. Now they're in third. The car very good, trying to get around Jeff Burton. His teammate Matt Kenseth may be a little bit better at the end of the run than the 99, but Matt came on the radio a moment ago, told the guys, this is the best set of tires we've had all day long. For the end of the race, I want another set, just like this one, Matt.
Owner Jack Roush has to be pleased with the fact that all 5 teams are running in the top 10. Mark Martin not pleased with his race car, though. He says that small chassis adjustment has now made the car swing back to the other side. Now it's just way too tight, Alan.
Greg Biffle had a little trouble on that last restart, dropped him back to 8th spot. Not sure if it was just air pressure that didn't agree with his car's handling or what, but he's back on track now. He's moved back up to 6th position, and Biffle trying to get back toward the front. Matt?
Casey Kane has 2 starts in the Brickyard 400. He has finished 2nd and 4th. He has said for the last year he continues to replay last year's race over and over in his mind. He said today it's not about the chase at the end of the year. It's all about winning this race.
A lot of things dictate how the finish is here, and we're going for the win. I mean, that's all I'm here for, is to win the Allstate 400, and points will come. Hopefully we'd make the right decision in that situation. But yeah, we're going for the win.
The decision on pit road was to try to free the race car up. Went up on the track bar. He says it has helped, but he still has that issue, Marty, with dirty air.
Matt Denny Hamlin has a race car he knows can make it to victory lane. It's raced twice this year and won both races at Pocono, but there's a problem developing on the 11 car. They say it's starting to vapor lock going into turns 1 and 3. When Denny hits the gas, there's no response. It takes a little while, but it does come in. Lap times look good, though, Alan.
A season that has been mostly mediocre for Jamie McMurray in that 26th car, looking good today here at Indy. He's picked his way up from 18th starting spot, now into the top 10 in 9th place, very slowly but steadily working his way toward the front. And how about the recovery of Jimmy Johnson? Remember when he had the tire go down back earlier at lap 39? He fell all the way to 38th place then. His pit crew got him 5 spots on that last stop. He's gained a few more since the green flag. Johnson back in the top 10. Matt?
Back in 1997, J.J. Yaley finished in the top 10 in the Indy 500. Just outside the top 10 running today in the 11th spot. The car has been tight down in turns 1 and then on entry down into turns 3. They've made progress. Meanwhile, the 7, as you see, the 18 will go back and forth. Meanwhile, the 7 of Robbie Gordon, his car has been loose most of the day. He has come in here with 4 straight top 20 finishes. They had high hopes, especially, Marty, after finishing 13th at Pocono.
Matty Clint Boyer has struggled with a race car that just will not turn. He said he can't be aggressive with it going into turn 1 in a battle for second. Bill, look at that Carl Edwards go.
Around Jeff Burton and into 2nd place.
And the crew giving Carl a big hand as he goes down the front straightaway in the 2nd spot. But they're thinking 1 more to go, Carl.
Oh, you were right, Wally. He's coming.
He's been looking good. They made some adjustments that last stop, and he's got his sights set on the 29 car, Kevin Harvick, who leads this thing right now.
Kevin Harvick won the Busch race last night, trying to win the Allstate 400 this afternoon here at the Brickyard. Got a go-kart for graduation from kindergarten. Now he wants to win again at Indy. Complete. Kevin Harvick is the race leader here at Indianapolis.
But Carl Edwards is slowly reeling him in. There he is, 1 3/4 seconds behind Kevin Harvick the last time by the start-finish line.
But he's got Harvick's attention, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. I mean, looks up in that mirror and says, whoa. And he passed his teammate, Jeff Burton. And Carl Edwards has been a little bit quicker these last few laps, but what's the 29 saying, Alan?
Yeah, well, let me just add this to the discussion. Kevin Harvick came on his radio at lap 77 and said, I'm just riding. So how much do you think Carl got his attention?
Well, we'll see how hard he's riding if the 99 gets to his bumper.
How about it, Marty?
Well, meantime, Carl Edwards, for the first time all day long, radioed the crew and said, fellas, I'm too loose. Car wants to turn a little too easily now. We're rapidly approaching the next pit stop. They're going to pit about lap 95 for the 99 bunch.
All right, thanks, Marty. Kevin Harvick has won championship here at the Brickyard. What's it mean to win this race?
It's just something that I wanted to race Indy cars when I was growing up, and just to step foot in here and win a race is pretty much a dream come true. To do it again, that's icing on the cake. Next to Daytona, this is the race that we put the most effort into, and all the teams want to win at, and this is the downforce race to win.
Well, Kevin Harvick is from Bakersfield, California.
Yes, that's
Another guy from Bakersfield, California, had a lot of success here at the Brickyard.
Yeah, some guy named Rick Mears.
That's it.
Won it 4 times. An idol of Harvick's. And same for Jimmy Johnson. Rick and Roger Mears. And Robbie Gordon came from dirt to racing in Indianapolis. Meanwhile, his teammate, Jeff Burton, fading a little bit. You working on that one, Alan?
Yeah, just talked to his crew chief, Scott Miller, Bill. And Benny and Wally, you can probably elaborate a little bit more on this, but it has to do with how a car's handling changes over the course of a fuel run. When Jeff Burton starts off on a restart, his car is set up to be very loose, meaning the back end lacks a lot of grip, so that as the fuel burns off and the tire grip changes, the car tends to get tighter, where the front end loses grip and it doesn't want to turn. The problem is trying to find that balance where it doesn't start off too loose or get too tight. That's really what he's fighting right now, is looking for that sweet spot.
Well, you're looking at 22 gallons of fuel in the back at, say, 7 pounds per gallon. It's a lot of weight you're taking out of the rear of that car.
I'm just wondering, Alan, I mean, did they not make any adjustments at that first or second stop? Because he was obviously the class of the field up till about 15 or 20 laps ago.
Yeah, they have been making adjustments every stop, Wally. The problem is the track conditions continue to change, and other teams continue to adjust their cars to make them better. Yeah. So where you might have had the fastest car in the first part of the race, that doesn't mean conditions and the competition agrees with you now.
And we're just past the halfway mark here. The Allstate 400 at the Brickyard. Jack Roush has 5 Fords in the top 10. Only had 1 in the top 10 at the start of the race. We're under caution here at the Brickyard. 6th caution of the day. This one is for debris in turn 3. Kevin Harvick is the race leader. Jeff Gordon is the lucky dog. And he will now come around and start at the tail end of the longest line, but he will be back on the lead lap after being 3 laps down earlier in the race. Coming to NBC this fall, it's Friday Night Lights, the series. In Dillon, Texas, high school football isn't just a sport, it's a way of life. Friday Night Lights, Tuesday this fall on NBC. This will be a quickie yellow when they open the pits, so everyone is eligible to come down pit road. But when Gordon comes back around, everybody will be on the lead lap, all 40 cars. Boris said, Elliott Sadler out of the race, Jeremy Mayfield in the garage.
A little bit early on their window, but they'll still all come in.
So we'll have 40 cars on pit road at one time.
On a very narrow pit road.
Recipe for disaster.
Yep, want to continue to remind you of that. Burns.
And Brian Vickers has the first pit stall off of turn 4, went from 1st to 14th on the last run. Once the air pressure's built on the right side, he was actually okay. This time for tires, a little air out of the right rear to tighten it up. Matt.
Pat Tryson needing a smooth stop for his driver, Mark Martin. They're going to back up on the wedge adjustment they made the previous stop. Mark said it made the car way too tight. Artie.
Carl Edwards ran second for much of that run with a very loose race car. Said he had no rear grip. A little bit of a slow stop on the right front, quarter round in the left rear. Alan?
And a 4-tire change for the leader, Kevin Harvick. Told by his crew chief, Todd Berrier, just like we've done every time. Nice and smooth. Looks like Harvick's going to win the race toward that pit exit line. Oh, what about Burton there? Well, now.
Very close. Oh, What happened to Carl?
Carl lost 6 or 7 spots with that right front tire.
Here's the race off of pit road. Teammates here. Burton in the 31, Harvick in the 29, and Harvick's got it.
Yeah, they high-fived a little bit too early in that 31 pit.
The race off of pit road. 31 bunch thought they had it, but they didn't. There is Jeff Gordon, and guess where he is?
On the lead lap. He's still 40th, but every car he passes now is a position. Before, he could have passed 40 cars and not gained anything.
I was going to say he was 40th a little while ago when he was 3 laps down. So he's in a lot better shape now. Green flag out. Kevin Harvick leads. It's his teammate Jeff Burton in the 31, then Matt Kenseth, and Kenseth's teammate Mark Martin in the 6.
Ooh, Burton got a little bit loose getting into 1 there. Hangs on to it.
Jeremy Mayfield has returned to the race. He's scored 30 laps down in the 41st position.
Carl Edwards takes a spot away from Biffle.
See Burton going that 31, going for the lead. Kenseth trying to take over that 2nd spot, that 17.
On the inside of Harvick, he's got it. Now Mark Martin wants to be next, and Harvick shuts the door.
He turned left in a rush, didn't he?
More on Kenseth from Marty.
I tell you, Matt's like the guy waiting to strike. They got an excellent car, and he's kind of hanging back a little bit. His car had no rear grip on the last run, quarter down on the left rear wedge bolt, and they have a car that they think on the long run especially is much better than the guys in front of him. His teammate Carl Edwards also had a car that was a little bit loose, but they told him on the radio, listen, you and those RCR cars and Matt are the class of the field. Keep it up front, fella. We can win this race.
Hey, Marty, how did his pit stop go?
Not so good. They had a hung up. Well, actually, they dropped 2 lug nuts off the right front, but they did thread them back by hand. That took a little extra time, but they had all the lug nuts tight on the 99. That's why they lost a little track position, but they'll get it back. They have a fast race car, Bill.
Wait, they got 3 tight and 2 by hand?
No, they got them all tight by the gun,
okay.
but they had to pick them off the ground.
Denny Hamlin looked like he was...
Something happened to that 11 car that came off the corner, didn't it?
Marty?
Well, remember, they've had that vapor locking issue all day long. Denny has not said anything on the radio as of yet. But Denny, when they go to hit the gas, especially in 1 and 3 for most of the day, it's like the car would bobble, like the car wouldn't respond when Denny was asking it for the gas. So they've had that problem all afternoon long, and it's been getting worse, too.
Yeah, it may not be a vapor lock. It may be just a problem in the carburetor, BP. Maybe like a float problem or adjustment in the carburetor.
Could be the float is too low and not getting enough fuel as he goes around the corner when he hits the brake and the front end dips.
And some guys are working on that, right?
Yes, they are working on that. We see the 48 car trying to stay in front of Carl. Here comes Biffle on the inside. Looks like Jimmy still got that left front tire rubbing the fender.
Yeah. But if you just get off the line a little bit and you make a little bit of a mistake, or you just get off the line a foot or two, it just opens the door for somebody else to get underneath, and that's almost what happened to Carl Edwards.
More on the biff from Allen.
Yeah, remember, he was up as far as 2nd earlier in the race, Bill, and it slipped back as far as 8th. His team went back to their original tire pressures that they started the race with on the left side tires on that last pit stop. Also made an adjustment to the wedge, the crossweight in the car. Basically, Greg said the car wouldn't turn in the corner, and he needed help with that. And boy, has that been a familiar moan on the radio for these drivers here all day. It won't turn, it won't turn. There might be a country song like that, huh, BP?
That'd be a good country song. And I think a lot of country fans would understand what we're talking about. Said it won't turn. It's like the 16 car a little bit better than it has been the last 50 miles or so, last 75 miles.
Turning better than the 99 right there.
Yeah.
Got underneath him.
Did you talk to those guys in the garage this morning, the 16 bunch?
I talked to the crew chief, Doug Richard.
They said, is anybody picking the 16 car? I said, nobody is yet. I said, I haven't heard anything. And they said, well, we're going to sneak up on them.
Well, Carl lost a spot, and now he's taking it back. I love that.
Hamlin in the 11, Casey Kane in the 9.
Casey Mears, the 42 car in the top 10 right now.
He started 39th. Talking about Casey Mears.
And he's got himself into the top 10. They're all chasing Jeff Burton again at Indianapolis. You're watching the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard on NBC. 1/8 of a mile.
That car looks like it's working pretty good, Benny.
Sure does. He's pulled away from Kenseth a little bit. He's running about 0.2 of a second faster than Kenseth now. I know that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but in racing terms, that's a great deal. 0.2 of a second.
You probably couldn't convince him of that right now.
No, he can still see that 17th.
Yes, that's right. Smooth here, isn't it?
Very smooth. Places like glass. You hear the throttle working, off the gas, back on it. Even that's smooth.
And down the front stretch, surrounded by people.
And turn one is a tough place when you're driving this place because you can't see through the corner. You drive down along the wall and you're almost like picking a spot where you know you got to lift, and then you make the turn because you can't see the corner before you get to it.
And he was at about 197 miles an hour.
And you're doing that going really fast.
You do it 160 times.
Turn 3 here is a little bit easier. You can see a little bit across the corner. Not as bad as turn 1.
Jeff Burton has led 77 of the 99 laps. The last race Jeff Burton led the most laps was Phoenix. It was October of 2001. That day the winner was Jeff Burton.
About that before the restart. Matt?
Mark Martin had a great test here. Currently runs in the 4th spot. He is pulled to within 2 seconds of the leaders. He said nothing on the radio. He's just hunkered down trying to reel in his teammate, the 17, for another position. AB?
Well, what a rally for Jimmie Johnson. After falling back to 38th with problems earlier, he's all the way back up to 5th. It's been a trademark of this team this season. Jimmy leads the championship entering this race like he has the last couple of summers. And I asked him yesterday how that puts pressure on his team, how he feels about being the point leader now.
No, I don't find that it makes me nervous at all. I think leading the championship's been a great drill for the race team. We're dealing with pressures. We've had some races where we lost points and maybe come close to losing the championship lead. We've been able to come back and gain some points and gain control again. So I think it's been a great drill for us. If we have a large lead, if we're fortunate enough to be in that situation going into Loudon and it disappears and it's a 5-point lead, it'll be a whole new set of emotions that come with that, but that's still a long way away from right now. So we just got to stay focused. Until we're mathematically locked in that chase, we're not going to breathe.
Keeping the pressure on themselves so they're ready to perform come championship time. That's the thought process for Jimmie Johnson. Matt? Sorry, Marty.
That's okay, Alan. Carl Edwards has a race car that just will not turn in the middle of the corners now. Earlier on, it turned a little too well, so they've been on both sides of the fence today. They have finished 39th twice in the last 4 races. And when you ask him about the championship, he'll quickly remind you, my teammate Matt Kenseth made it last year, and he was 17th in the championship standings going into this race. We can make it too. Currently, they are 14th. The 99, or actually the 11 car, Denny Hamlin, chassis-wise, he has to be freed up on the last stop. Radioed the crew early on and said, you know what, guys? You did that. Problem is, the engine problem is not getting any better. In fact, radioed the crew just a moment ago and said it's worse it's been all day long in the last few laps, Alan.
Greg Biffle is as far back as he's been all race long in the 8th position. But, as crew chief Doug Richard just told him on the radio, your lap times are as good as the leaders. Problem is, he's got to catch that leader and then try and pass him, Dave.
This morning I talked to crew chief Donnie Wingo on the 42 car and said, you know, we had a great Indy test and we've really had a great weekend here. We only ran 2 bad laps. One of them was our qualifying lap. We started 39th today. The car was a little bit tight in the last run. They just adjusted for that. Matt?
Rounding out the top 10 is the 18 of J.J. Yaley. Now as crew chief Steve Addington and car chief Scott Zipadelli continue to try to tweak the race car's handling. J.J. says the last stop they made an air pressure adjustment and it did not help it. It still pushes considerably, Dave.
Brian Vickers doesn't have quite the track position he wants, but his last comments were, you know what? We're not too far off from being pretty good. As for the 20 car of Tony Stewart, he said to his guys, please make me tighter through the center of the corner. They made a wedge and an air pressure adjustment to try to help Tony on that last pit stop. Marty?
Remember Tony's old friend, Clint Boyer, the man right behind him. When Tony passed Clint, he roughed him up a little bit, and Clint wasn't very happy about it, telling the crew, quote, he better hope I cannot get back to him, Matt.
And it continues to take another change for the worse for the 9 of Casey Kane, who finished second 1 year ago. He says the car is just not in the racetrack. The car is pushing. And he made comments, Alan, about earlier in the race that he just can't run at or below the white line like the other contenders.
Right behind him, Scott Briggs running in 15th place for about half of this race. Scott Briggs sat in 12th place. He started there, that's where he ran. Then the handling went away. They fell back to about 18th. He's gotten some adjustments, trying to move back toward the front. Marty?
On the weekend of Kurt Busch's wedding to his new wife, Eva, he got a phone call from Roger Penske saying, you know how important Indianapolis is to me. When he walked in the gates Friday morning, he got another phone call from Roger Penske saying, you know how important this race is to me. Roger Penske has won 14 Indianapolis 500s, but has yet to win the Brickyard 400.
You know, I'm all engulfed in it. It feels incredible to be able to drive for a man such as Roger and his history here and just the prestige of this event. And to come here in May and to see what he had put together and to see Sam Hornish on the pole and win the race, you know, it's an experience where you have to come here and see it. And I'm standing next to him on the pit box. I felt like a 12-year-old kid. And now to be in the car, driving for him in the stock car ranks, it's something very special. And I hope to put it together. And his big emphasis is to do the double. And he's got the one leg already done. Now Ryan and I have to do it this weekend.
Remember, Kurt has come to the back of the field twice today, shepherding him almost all the way. Roger Penske, a battle for the lead, Bill.
Matt Kenseth trying to take it away from Jeff Burton, and he has it.
He's been getting closer.
Oh, a little bit loose. Boy, Burton got right on his bumper. Got Matt a little bit loose, but Matt he's hanging on.
You used to be teammates at Roush Racing.
Good run here, though. And there's Harvick. That's going to be a good race here.
Sure is. And I tell you what, Mark Martin back in the 4th spot. He's just about a second behind these guys, and he has been as fast as any of them.
Matt Kenseth led that lap, 5 bonus points. He's second in the championship standings.
And Jimmy Johnson, he's
all of a
close
sudden
up.
we've got a 5-car race for the lead.
You race 100 laps to set the scene for the last 60 at Indy. And we've got just 50 to go now.
Jimmy Johnson going to take a spot away from Mark Martin.
Just to update a couple other guys. There are 39 cars scored on the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt Jr. restarted at the back of the field, has moved his way to 30th, and Jeff Gordon, who restarted 40th, has moved his way up to 28th. But these are the guys up front, racing for the prestige of being able to say, I won at Indianapolis. Matt Kenseth, the race leader, with Burton, Harvick, Martin, and Johnson chasing. Jimmy Johnson into second. Grew up idolizing Rick Mears, a 4-time winner of the Indy 500. What would it mean to Johnson to win here?
This race, with the history and what this track's about, it's one of the top 2 races that we have on the circuit. I've been lucky enough to win the Daytona 500. If I could win the 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year, would be more than I have ever dreamt of in a season.
Has come back from 38th after his tire issue to run second. And now he's trying to rope in Matt Kenseth for the lead. We'll see if Johnson can catch Kenseth or if Matt can hold him off. 116 laps complete at the Brickyard. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Lowe's Chevy is the leader at Indianapolis. Got around Matt Kenseth, took the lead, looked pretty easy.
Going down in turn 3, the same spot Kenseth took the lead a few laps ago. Johnson gets on the inside and goes by.
The reaction of his guys on pit road. They have come from 38th to 1st after tire troubles earlier in this race. Here's our Napa field summary for the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard. Jimmy's the 7th leader of the race, 6 cautions. Boris said Elliott Sadler are out of the race. For Just a couple of laps from pit stops. We'll take a break, come back for what could be green flag pit stops at Indy. Under green, 124 laps are complete.
Jimmy Johnson, leader on pit road, following the 8 Bud car down pit road to his pits.
Dave?
And Tony Stewart coming in to make his pit stop now as well. Looking at a shot of Jimmy Johnson. There is Stewart. Crew going to the right side there. Air pressure adjustment only for Tony Stewart. Alan.
What a rally for Jimmy Johnson. 38th up to the lead. Going to be a 4-tire change for this team. They've already made a track bar adjustment when they were changing the right side tires down and away.
These are huge. The pressure of green flag pit stops at Indianapolis.
And that looked like a great stop under that kind of pressure.
There's Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, all heading down pit road. See how narrow it is right there. Marty.
Well, Bill, Matt Kenseth led for part of that run, ran in second for part of that run behind Jimmy Johnson. He said he was a little surprised the track did not tighten up, and his car never really tightened up. It stayed loose for most of that run. So what they're going to do is they're going to bring him in 4 tires and make several changes on the car. They're going to take a half pound on the right rear tire. They're going to go down 3/4 of a round on the track bar. They also weren't going to make a wedge adjustment, decided not to do that. Alan?
Kevin Harvick pits from second place, 4-tire change for the 29 car as he tries to get the handling back to get him back to the lead in his final run of the race. In the first stall on pit road, Jeff Burton with a wedge adjustment in and out of the left side window. They've already made an air pressure adjustment on the right side of the car for the 31. They've had great stops all day. He's down and away.
And Harvick had to do a little dance to get off of pit road there and not run into Jamie McMurray, and that cost him some time.
And it looked like the 29's pit stop might have been a second or two slower than some of the other cars. We'll see how he stacks up once he gets back on the track and up speed.
Yeah, and about a second in the pits. It's about 100 yards on this racetrack for as fast as they're going. So, man, those pit stops are real important right there.
Chad Chaffin in the 34 car making his first race at Indianapolis, hit with a speeding ticket on pit road.
And it's not just the pit stops, it's getting up through the gears, getting to pit lane, and the whole package. I mean, it's just, you know, pit lane is a part of it. The driver's got a lot more to do to get the car up to speed or get the car slowed down before pit stop.
Kyle Busch is scored as the race leader as we work our way through green flag pit stops. 34 laps to go here at the Brickyard.
Well, I'm just thrilled to death that we saw a green flag pit stop today. I was really concerned beginning of the day that it would be blown tires causing the caution flags, but fortunately those guys Goodyear told me their tire wear would get better, and it has.
Here comes Kyle Busch to pit road. Well, we were talking before the race. Goodyear kept saying the tire wear was going to get better. We were waiting, and it has.
Finally it did. There we see Jimmy Johnson. Looks like he's held serve over Kenseth, Denny Hamlin, Mark Martin, and there comes Harvey.
As we cycle through this, I can tell you that Jimmy Johnson has about a 2-second lead over Matt Kenseth.
Joe Nemechek, the 01 car, is shown as the leader. He is yet to make his pit stop.
There's Joe driving the Army Chevrolet. And when he comes to pit road, it will cycle back to Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth battling for the lead. Just over 30 laps to go here at the Brickyard in Indianapolis with the Allstate 400 on the line. Started 38th, worked his way forward past Matt Kenseth and took the lead. Our DLP race recap.
And still has the lead, although it is shrinking, or has been shrinking just a little bit. It's now a 1.25 seconds over Kenseth.
Then Denny Hamlin, Mark Martin, Kevin Harvick, the top 5. Johnson had never led a lap here until today. Was 38th last year, 36th the year before that, 18th in 03, and has one top 10, a 9th back in 2002. An update on Mark Martin from Matt Yoder.
Bill, he started the day full of optimism, but 3 laps ago he came on the radio and said, I have a vibration. Did you get all the lugs tight? They looked at the film from their pit stop. Pat Tryson assured him he should be okay. Mark says, well, I have a shimmy. Not good news for the 6.
No, when that happens, you start thinking about the vibration as much as you do your line or.
Yeah, and you're waiting to see if it gets worse. If it gets worse, then it's a loose wheel.
Marty on 2nd and 3rd place.
Yeah, we're talking about Denny Hamlin and Matt Kenseth. Now, Denny Hamlin, chassis-wise, has been excellent. And for the meantime, the engine problem seems to have gone away on the 11 car. When the engine problem is gone, in other words, they've had a problem with the car bobbling when Denny hits the gas. When that's gone, the chassis-wise, they're perfect. Matt Kenseth in front of him, very good on the long runs. They're fairly confident they can catch the 48 car. Question is whether or not they can get around them, Alan.
When those pit stops for the leader, Jimmy Johnson, came with 36 laps to go, I asked his crew chief, Chad Canales, are you good to the finish on fuel? He said, yes. I said, impressive comeback. And he looked at me and he said, it's not done yet.
Matt?
Bill, Mark Martin just came on the radio and said, we have a loose wheel. Get ready. I should be hitting pit road. The 6 guys are up on the wall waiting for him. At this juncture, more than likely going to go 2 tires. He passed by the pit, but the guys are holding station waiting for him to hit pit road.
And while we focused on how big it is to win at the Brickyard, this could be huge for Mark Martin. 5th in the championship standings, but it is so tightly bunched in there. If he is to fall out here or fall back, it will cost him a tremendous amount of points. Update a couple other guys. Jeff Gordon runs in the 22nd spot after the issues he had earlier in the race. He's made up 3 laps, is on the lead lap button 22nd. Dale Earnhardt Jr. runs 30th. There's the 6 of Mark Martin.
We'll see if he rides by the entrance to pit road one more time.
He's hoping. He's hoping it'll go away. But if it is vibrating, and it is a loose wheel, it won't go away. Well, he must not be too confident that it is a loose wheel.
Well, Mark tries to feel those things out too, and if there's nobody racing around him, he'll use as much of the track as he can to try and get a true feel for it. There he is, Harvick behind him. That steering wheel vibrate, or what do you?
Oh yeah, you can feel it. It really starts shaking through the steering wheel. When it gets looser and looser, I mean, the whole car just shakes.
Hearing a report that Bobby Labonte may be having an engine problem.
There we see him slow.
NASCAR checking the track for debris.
You can see the smoke on the 43 Labonte, Bill, and when he went by the last time, you could hear the engine. It sounded sick as he came down the front stretch, at least down the cylinder. He's done for the day.
Former winner of the Brickyard 400 heads for the garage. 24 laps to go. We'll take our final green flag break right here. Then if it stays green, we'll take you to the checkers at Indianapolis. Jimmy Johnson is the race leader.
Bam! Oh, he was fantastic. And you know, when they throw a play, he knows where every defensive player is going to be. Offensive player, I don't know how he does that.
A lot of homework. Look forward to listening to those guys tonight right here on NBC. Jimmy Johnson, the race leader at Indianapolis. And as focused as he is on this race, you know thoughts of Rick Mears are creeping through his head at this point. From California, followed in the tire tracks of Rick and Roger Mears, from the dirt to 4 wheels, now to Indianapolis.
And I guess everyone is good to go on fuel.
We're going to find out.
Yeah. It's going to be close. It's going to be close for probably some of them. The 48 car should not be an issue.
But that tire rub.
He's had it all day. Yeah. So obviously it's not a concern, or it would have been. It would have cut that tire a lot earlier.
Alan?
just to give positive answers to things that you guys were just wondering about. Yes, fuel is good to the finish on the 48 car, and no, they do not appear the least bit concerned about that tire rub. This really has been a remarkable rally for this race team. Think about the luck that goes into winning one of these races, Benny and Wally. When a tire comes apart like it did on Jimmy Johnson back at lap 30. Well, yellow lights are on there. What's going on, guys?
Debris, turn 3. Caution for debris.
That's going to make Carl Edwards very happy, because Carl Edwards has been the fastest car on the track the last 10 laps. And it just erased that 3-second gap between him and Jimmy Johnson.
Now with 19 laps to go, 18 laps to go, we're going to see some strategy. We're going to see right sides. We're going to see 4. Maybe someone will stay out.
Yes.
Somebody will stay out.
We're going to see, and whatever the 48 does, everybody will do the opposite.
Well, it was last night in the Busch race, right?
Yeah.
When was it Hamlin that stayed out? Yeah. And everybody else
did the opposite. Yeah. Boy, 2 sounds good if you're up in the top 5, BP.
Kenny Wallace is the lucky dog. About the 48 strategy, Alan.
I would look, once the pace car picks the field up that it's doing now, Bill, and pit road opens, I would look to see them pit. With as many laps to go in this race as there are, I would expect to see them pit. The question is, does anybody behind them on the racetrack shoot for 2 tires and try and cost them some track position?
Hey, man, there's guys here that are going for the win. They're not worried about points, so absolutely there's going to be guys gambling here.
A lot of guys talk about it. I'm just going to go for the win at Indianapolis. Now we're going to see if they're going to live up to their word.
Here's their opportunity. And yeah, you know what? Maybe a guy that's won this thing once or 3 times or 4 times won't take that gamble, but a guy that has not won here before will take the gamble.
A guy like Casey Mears in 16th. Do you just stay out? Hope you can hold him off? We saw 2 tires on the 25 car earlier in the race. Didn't really do much for him.
No, it didn't work very well. It didn't appear to work very well.
Well, it's a cliche, but this is when the crew chiefs earn the big bucks. We'll see what strategy plays out here at Indianapolis. 18 to go. Jimmy Johnson has finally gotten to the lead at Indianapolis, leading his first laps ever at the Brickyard today, coming back from 38th to the front.
I mean, if Jimmy Johnson in the 48 changes 4 and 5 or 6 other cars change 2 or no, then he's going to have trouble getting back to the front.
Yeah.
There's the commitment cone.
We're going to go clean out, but clean in, clean out.
What do you think, BP? 4? I think he takes 4.
I think he takes 4.
Let's start with a 20, Dave.
And they say they're going to take 4. Front tire changer Ira Joe Hussey let out a yelp when the caution came out, a chance to help his driver. They're going to make a wedge adjustment for just a little bit of a free race car, just a little loose. Matt?
A huge break for Mark Martin, who had that vibration from the loose wheel. 4 tires for the 6, possibly pulling a spring rubber out of the right rear. It was a skosh tight. Marty?
Big debate on 2 or 4 tires from Matt Kenseth, the man who ran in second for much of that run. At the end, they said, let's take 4 tires up a quarter round on the track bar. Alan?
No question about it. In the 48 pit, 4 tire change, also made an air pressure and a track bar adjustment. Let's see how he gets off of pit road. There's already been 1 go by, 2 go by. Johnson and Matt Kenseth in a tight squeeze.
And Kenseth beats Johnson off pit road, but there's a couple of cars in front of him. I think Denny Hamlin might have changed 2 tires.
And not everybody pitted. Take a look at the race off of pit road.
There goes Hamlin. Fairly sure that was a 2-tire stop. Clint Boyer, another car with 2 tires. And there comes Kenseth and Johnson.
Among the cars that did not stop, Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ryan Neiman, and Joe Nemechek back for the finish at Indy in a moment. Just to get you ready for the game tonight, Dateline NBC, Stone Phillips, and T.O. And we were told that is an eye-opening interview with T.O. tonight. Dateline NBC, 7 Eastern time, in the Hall of Fame game from Canton, Ohio, tonight at 8 Eastern time. Now, Wally.
Yes, sir.
The guys that didn't pit, Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ryan Newman.
I've got 2 words for that.
Ryan Newman, Joe Nemechek.
I got 2 words for that.
What's that?
Look out. Because these guys that obviously have taken tires are going to be a lot quicker. You've got, well, Kansas running good. Like I said, Carl Edwards, he has had the fastest car. If he can work his way through traffic, he's had the fastest car the last 10, 15 laps of this race. I mean, you've got, it's going to be crazy.
Kyle Busch was 27th, Earnhardt 28th, Newman 30th, Nemechek 31st. Marty?
It was decision by committee for the 17 bunch to take 4 tires, but is it good enough to get you from 7th to the lead, Robbie?
Well, all you can do is hope, you know. When it comes down to this, it's always a hard decision, you know, and I kind of pooled the whole team what they wanted to do, and we were thinking 2 and they were thinking 4, and so we decided to go with what they wanted to do and put 4 tires on it and hope for the best.
Obviously, they've had a fast car, but the problem is they've been better on the longer runs. Hopefully, it's a long enough run for Kenseth to get back to the front.
Yeah, he's got a lot of cars he's got to pass, so he's got a lot of fast cars behind him, so he's not gonna have that luxury of letting things settle down.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if Carl Edwards in that 99 car down in turn 1 doesn't dive to the outside.
No, I'm telling you what, he's ready. I think he's got a very good race car. And I think he's going to give these guys a hard time in the last few laps.
Let's go back to something you were talking about before the race even started. Restarts.
Yeah.
They're very tricky here.
And this is even worse now because you've got guys that are on older tires and cars that really haven't run that good. I mean, Earnhardt Jr. and these guys haven't really had good race cars today. So, yeah, it's going to be, you got to be really careful on this restart.
Dave?
And guys, I was checking on the teams that stayed out, and you know, the 5 in the 8 car, the 5 has been running way down in the pack, and crew chief Alan Gustafson said, well, we had to try something. As for the 8 car of Dale Jr., they looked at history last year. Remember, they were with Michael Waltrip, and they realized that their strategy last year with the top 10 that stayed out late actually did better than the guys that came and put on tires. So they looked back to last year and thought, we can do this if we stay out. We can be better than we would have been if we'd have come in and gone to the back of the pack. Alan?
With Chad Canals. Chad, you almost had no choice but to take 4 tires there, didn't you?
Yeah, by looking at the lap times, I think we pretty much had to. The guys up front, boy, that's going to be exciting. I don't know how they think they can go that fast right now on old tires, but we'll see what happens. The Slows team has done an incredible job today. I couldn't be happier. It's been a great weekend for me. Best birthday present I could ever have.
Happy 35th. Marty.
Alan, the boys in the booth think Wally Brown's car is the one to beat. Do you agree with him, Wally?
I don't know about that, but the car's been pretty solid all day, so we just got to get a good finish here and see what happens.
One thing in their advantage is they have been excellent on the short run, guys.
All right. Well, it's going to be
something.
It's going to be a wrecker. It's going to be fun to watch these guys pick their way through.
Top 4 cars didn't pit. The fastest guy is probably 9th in line. Carl Edwards, green flag out at Indianapolis.
Here comes Kenseth. Look at him go by both those cars. That stuff, well, I thought he was by Boyer, not, but he wasn't able to get by the 11 of Hamlin.
Now Kyle Busch and Earnhardt will try and get away while these guys race for position.
They're scrambling and trying to get around these cars that haven't taken tires, and now they're being held up. Kenseth wants to get through here bad.
3 wide.
Jimmy Johnson's on the outside. He and Kenseth are side behind. Johnson gets in front of Kenseth.
All in behind Boyer. Kyle Busch and Earnhardt try and get away. Clint Boyer on the inside of Ryan Newman. There's Johnson in the 48 and Kenseth behind him. Across the yard of bricks toward turn 1. They clear Newman. Hamlin around Newman.
Hamlin's hanging pretty tough with 2 tires, but I don't think keep those cars behind him or not. Marty?
BP talked to Mike Ford about that decision to take 2 tires. They're better on old tires, so they thought 2 tires will get us the track position we need, and Hamlin's hanging in there with those old tires.
Because that's what you tell your driver, right?
Yeah.
We're better on old tires, believe me.
Yeah, please believe me.
Kevin Harvick wiggles. Speeds at the line for you. See who's the fastest.
Well, yeah, that lap. These may be tough to indicate here. Jimmy Johnson there. These guys are really in a lot of traffic, so I think the times are all over the map right now.
Harvick's been able to get by the 11 of Hamlin.
Here they come. The race is that pack of 3 trying to catch the pack of 2 in front of them. Stewart out of line around Newman.
What a comeback for Tony Stewart.
Less than 12 laps to go. Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr. run 1-2. Here comes Jimmy Johnson. Again, the 5 of Busch, the 8 of Earnhardt did not pit. Fresher rubber behind him. And now right behind him. Allen.
Just before the restart, Bill, Chad Knaus told Jimmy Johnson the tires that came off our car look great. Drive the wheels off it.
Literally.
No, not literally, I don't think.
He did that once.
Yeah. He was telling him, go for it.
I'll tell you what, Clint Bowyer's hanging in there real tough in that 07 car. Marty?
Well, I talked to Clint Bowyer and his crew chief, Gil Martin, came on the radio. I talked to Gil, I should say, and he said, you know what? You can take 4 tires and finish 10th, or take 2 and have a shot to win the race. There was no response on the radio. Matt Kenseth behind him, though, has 4 fresh tires, and this battle for the lead, Bill, is heating up.
Kenseth does take the spot now from Bowyer.
And Junior's trying to take the lead away from Kyle Busch.
Jimmy Johnson is right
there. We got
Robbie Reiser, cheerleader.
Talking to his driver, Matt Kenseth. Johnson is much faster here, but will have to be very careful getting around these 2 slower cars. Earnhardt Jr. has taken the lead. You can hear the fans roar here at Indianapolis. Johnson into second. Kenseth tries to close in.
Unfortunately, Junior's a sitting duck.
Right. And he's not a tough guy to pass when he knows you have the better car.
Johnson to the front in the 48.
Now the question is, can the 17 get up there?
You're doing fine.
And catch Jimmy.
That was the voice of Tony Eury Jr., crew chief for Dale Jr.
But Matt needs to do it now, because now the 48's in clean air. He is definitely going to be the fastest car on the racetrack, and he's going to put a lot of distance in between him and Matt. Matt has got to get by Kyle Busch and Earnhardt Jr. as fast as he can in order to have enough time to race Jimmy Johnson.
Half the job's done. Now Kenseth in the 17 sets out after Earnhardt. Clint Bowyer in the 07. They've got Harvick bottled up there, but that 07 and 29 are teammates. Kenseth on Earnhardt's bumper. This should be a relatively easy pass, and it is. They're longtime friends, Earnhardt and Kenseth. Raced for years in the Busch Series.
I'll tell you what, that was a great call by Tony Eury Jr. on the 8 car. If he can stay in the top 5, he went from 30th to 5th.
Huge points day for Earnhardt.
I mean, puts him out of the points, the top 10, into the points 10.
Dave Burns.
They had a great tester with that race car. It was the best driving race car they'd had in a long time here, according to the crew. And I talked with Tony Eury Sr. this morning, and he gave me the same story. Last year in the last part of the race, the guys that stayed out made the right call.
Allen?
Bill, back in February to start this NASCAR Nextel Cup Series season, Jimmy Johnson won the Daytona 500. Earlier this weekend here at Indianapolis, he was asked what it would mean to him to win both Daytona and Indianapolis in the same year. He started to answer, then he stopped. He said, I couldn't even comprehend it. It might be reality 7 laps from now.
Only been done once. Dale Jarrett did it. Won the 500, then came here to the Brickyard, won the 400.
Well, if these lap times are any indication, he will win. They're running incredible lap times with just a few laps to go.
Kenseth in second. Every time I see Jimmy Johnson, I think back to Watkins Glen. That wreck he had in the Busch car coming down the front stretch. Styrofoam everywhere. Got out, raised up his arm, said, I'm okay. Spectacular crash. He was fine, and now a star in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series.
Dale Jr. losing another spot, couple more spots.
Jimmy Johnson, quicker that lap. All he's got to keep doing is doing what he's doing. Keep hitting your marks. Don't make a mistake. And that's the greatest thing you can see in front of you.
Yes, nothing. 38th here a year ago after a hard crash when he blew a tire. Now less than 6 laps from victory at the Brickyard. But I'll tell you what, this track has a history of breaking your heart late in the race, doesn't it?
You hear all kinds of noises between now and the checkered flag flying.
Jimmy's dad worked for a tire company. His mother, Kathy, drove a school bus when he was growing up. And on the weekends, she worked at the concession stands while his dad worked on the racetrack so Jimmy could race. Began his career on motorcycles, went off-road racing, went to the ASA Series, made his Nextel Cup debut in 2001 at the Lowe's Motor Speedway of all places. Started 15th, finished 39th.
Kevin Harvick is now a little bit faster than these two cars, but Harvick is 3 seconds behind Jimmy Johnson with 5 laps to go. He's going to have to be a whole lot faster than that to catch him.
This was the race a year ago that basically started Jimmy's slide in the championship standings. Then when NASCAR made a rule change after the Dover race last year, they basically were not as strong as they needed to be. Now maybe it's the Brickyard 400 that can propel him to his first NASCAR Nextel Cup Series championship. For the Bank of America countdown to green, he talked about all the tough times his team's been through. Crew Chief Chad Canal suspended for the first 4 races of this year, and we all know the story a little under 2 years ago. Hendrick Motorsports suffered a devastating loss in a plane crash in Martinsville, Virginia. When Jimmy won at Talladega this year, a rain-delayed race, the first thing he said when he got out of the car, I just want everybody to remember, it's Randy Dorton's birthday. Randy was on that plane that went down. Plane was on its way to a race in Martinsville, Virginia.
Jimmy Johnson won.
Jimmy won that race and then won the race the next week in Atlanta as a tribute to those that were killed. Car owner Rick Hendrick's son was on that plane, his brother, Rick's nieces. Randy Dorton basically was the engine department at Hendrick Motorsports. There's car owner Rick Hendrick, a man who I have to say has been extremely helpful to our friend Benny Parsons in recent weeks as well.
He has been unbelievable to me in the last couple of weeks, and I appreciate it, Rick.
Johnson told me on Friday when I sat down with him that he's gotten tremendous reviews on his radio show because he is so laid back, so casual, so carefree. He said, everybody tells me I'm too corporate when I'm in front of the camera. So I'm trying to kick back, be more relaxed in front of the camera, trying to be a little bit more me.
Well, he's being me as we speak.
Yeah, he's being me driving that race car.
Yes, he is.
Man, he's feeling it too. This is where you really start taking everything in. 2 laps to go. And you're saying to yourself, I can't believe I may win this thing.
Lap and a half. Kenseth far back now.
A little over 2 3/4 from Johnson back to Matt Kenseth.
Jimmy around and off of turn 4. White flag is in the air at Indianapolis. 1 lap to go at the Brickyard. One of his idols, Rick Mears, won here 4 times. His teammate Jeff Gordon, 4-time winner here. Started the season by winning the Daytona 500 without his crew chief. Now trying to take his car and his team to victory lane at Indianapolis. and hold on to the championship standings, which he won't even think about for probably a day and a half.
What an unbelievable
crash. Caution is out. Check that. Caution is not out yet. There's a crash on the backstretch.
It's like Robbie Gordon and Greg Biffle got together.
Still the white flag is out. Johnson off of turn 4. Checkered flag is in the air. Jimmy Johnson from California wins at Indianapolis, and the caution is out. The race is over. There are 15 scoring loops around the track. They will determine the final positions. Jimmy Johnson has won.
Oh, Casey Kane.
Hard into the wall.
I saw the 96 car of Tony Raines go by.
He was involved. There's Casey getting out. Denny Hamlin got a piece of it. His day's done. And there's the DLP Chevy of Tony Raines. Okay, let's go back and see what we can find.
Never seen Robbie and Biffle side by side, and Robbie gets in the corner, car just won't turn, goes up in the 16 car, and around they go. This is Tony Stewart.
Wow. Oh,
man.
man, that is a hit.
Oh my gosh.
On board with Tony Raines.
Wow. Oh,
he ran over something.
Yeah, it looked like the engine.
Wasn't that debris from the...
Yeah, but I mean, it was a big piece of debris.
Chevrolet congratulates Jimmy Johnson and the 48 Monte Carlo SS on another great Team Chevy victory. 25 of the last 34 NASCAR manufacturer championships and counting. Chevy, an American revolution. Matt?
Bill, just about everybody has congratulated crew chief Chad Canals. You've been here as a crew member. What's this mean to win it as a crew chief?
I'm speechless. You know, I never really knew what it would be like to win here as a crew chief, and this has honestly been the best week of my life. I mean, had a birthday, ran well at Indianapolis, won the race, got a new contract. I mean, I've got the best team in motorsports out there, and it is so awesome to be able to go into work every single day with the resources that we've got. It's like a big adult toy box, man. I just go in there and I get to pick and choose all the stuff that I need. Everybody at Hendrick Motorsports did a great job.
And the way this team rebounded as well.
I think you can answer that. That's typical. You know, these guys are so strong. They work so well together. Their confidence is always so high that anytime something comes up, man, we just dig deeper.
Chad Canals, a Brickyard 400 winner as a crew chief.
On the pre-race show, Jimmy Johnson said he doesn't mind having to struggle to be successful because all the tough times have just made his team stronger. That's exactly what they went through today. Battled back from a bad experience with a tire, restarted 38, patiently worked his way through the field, and captured the checkered flag at Indianapolis. Jimmy's getting back in the car. He's heading to victory lane. We check with Marty.
And the man who tried to chase him down, Matt Kenseth, but Robbie Reiser said it best. He said second place here is an honor. Was the 48 just too much?
Yeah, you know, Robbie and the guys did a great job, and, you know, I feel real bad because they put me in position to win again, and I couldn't figure out how to get it done. You know, Jimmy just did a better job in traffic than I did. I just got slowed up there with a couple of them cars, and, you know, Jimmy Johnson, Jack, and all some guys are awesome. I mean, they've been the guys to beat for 3 years, so I was kind of gauging myself against the 31 and 29. They ran good all day, and we got our car good enough where we could actually run with both of them guys pretty good. The 29 was a little better. Then the 48 just kind of came out of nowhere. He was real fast. There's no way I could beat him one-on-one. It's just I was hoping to get out front first. The guys gave me the pit stop. I just couldn't get through traffic fast enough.
What exactly did he do through traffic better?
Passed the cars quicker than I did. I just got 3 wide in the bottom. I got slowed up, and he took the outside and had a lot of momentum. So.
With
the second time. Matt Kenseth finished second at Indy. Dave?
With former Brickyard winner Kevin Harvick finishing third today. Kevin, what was the difference?
Yeah, it was a good day for our Reese's Chevrolet. It's, you know, we just took...
That should have been you, huh?
We had a good car. You know, we just got a little bit behind on the last pit stop and put on 4 tires and were able to get back up there. Just didn't have enough time.
And if you had been able to get back up there, do you think you would have had something for the 48?
I think we could have at least raced him, but it's hard to pass. So good job by all my guys today. Got to thank them. They built a good car, fixed it after I crashed it in practice. So good day for us.
Overall, a good weekend for him. His average finish here now at the Brickyard is 8th. Matt?
And Tony Stewart, who won here 1 year ago. Smoke, how would you begin to describe this day?
Woo! I think I passed 60 cars or more today, so pretty happy with it. I mean, shows us 9th on the board. I'm pretty sure we're going to get 8th out of this, but just really, really proud of this Home Depot team. I mean, we had an air gun break, and, you know, versus taking a chance, Zippy brought us back in and made sure that the lugs were tight and went to the back and battled our way back in the top 10, so pretty happy with this Home Depot team.
Tony Stewart finishes 9th today at the Brickyard.
Jimmy Johnson's first win in 5 attempts at Indianapolis, his 4th win of 2006, his first since Talladega in May. 22nd career victory in his 168th race. Marty?
Well, Bill, after a warm day here at Indianapolis, Dale Earnhardt Jr. winds up with a 6th place finish, and that call at the end seemed to be excellent.
Well, I'd love to have a better car where we don't have to make those kind of calls, but you know, we got a lot of talent on our team. We ain't putting it to good use, I don't guess. We need to do better, get better cars, and we can't make the chase with 30-place race cars. We took a chance and made it work, but we just got lucky. We're gonna thank the Lord tonight.
From what it would have been, though, Junior, that may have saved you right there.
Yeah, but I'd sure rather have it on more comfortable circumstances, you know what I mean? But thanks to my Bud team, thanks to all the fans. I mean, we had such support this weekend, and just glad we could give them something to be happy about.
As you guys can tell, Junior quite exhausted. Going to go ahead and get a cool drink of water, Bill.
Thank you, Marty.
How does he have any tires left?
I don't know. How's he going to get back to the pit area? To the victory lane.
5th 400 win for Hendrick Motorsports. 8th Chevy win in 13 races here at the Brickyard. He's headed to victory lane, and we'll be there when we come back. Jimmy Johnson is the winner at Indianapolis. Johnson celebrating his win in the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard. And the party's just beginning for that bunch. See the results? We'll slide by at the bottom of your screen.
And you know, that was a pretty good call on Earnhardt Jr.'s guys' part. That really helped them a bunch in the points deal.
Well, and you have to give Chad the credit too for sticking with his plan to put 4 tires on it as well.
And Jimmy Johnson, that move he made on the outside to get by Kenseth, who had won the battle off pit road. A lot of credit to be given.
You know, we celebrate the pit crews during most of our races, and those guys come up to you and say, hey, don't forget the other guys that are here the whole weekend and the guys back at the shop that do all the preparation. We're just the 7 guys that go over the wall. It's truly a team effort that sends a car to victory lane. And this week, that effort comes from Hendrick Motorsports, and Jimmy Johnson has his first win at Indianapolis.
All 550 of them strong at Hendrick Motorsports.
Now to victory lane. It's moved a little over the years and been redesigned, but Jimmy might be thinking about Rick Mears right about now. And all of his guys.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Johnson's in victory lane at Indianapolis, and Alan Bestwick is with him.
Shaking his head in disbelief that he is sitting in this spot right now, wiping down and getting ready to climb out. And Jimmy, congratulations. Earlier this weekend, you were asked what it would mean to you to win both the Daytona 500 and here at Indianapolis in the same year. You couldn't answer then. What does it mean to you now?
I don't think I can answer it yet. I was just thinking about that on the cool-down lap, and I guess it'll take a little time to soak in. I just saw Greg Zipadelli coming down pit road, and he said, today's a special day, and the look in his eye and the look on his face, that feeling setting in, and I'm speechless right now. I can't thank this race team for all that they've done. We overcame a left front flat tire, rallied back, drove all the way to the front. I'm totally speechless. I can't thank these guys for all the hard work. Lowe's, all their employee owners, everyone at Hendrick Motorsports for the hard work. I never thought I would win at this racetrack. I've had such a drought at this racetrack, and now we got a victory.
You look like your lips are just shaking in excitement, like you want to just scream. Let me take you back. Given what's happened to you here the last couple of years, when the tire problem happened at lap 39, what were you thinking?
Man, I was really nervous because I knew we had a fast race car, but I knew I had to come through traffic, and I knew that it would be harder on the tires coming through traffic. But Chad knew something with the air pressures that would help that left front survive. We had another runner, two short runs after that where we got the tire pressures right, and this baby was money ever since. I cannot believe how good this Monte Carlo was today.
After the last set of pit stops, when you were shuffled from the lead back to 8th by other strategies, you made a couple of bold moves there in traffic. Again, what were you thinking? Balancing the fact that you're the championship leader.
Man, I couldn't, there was nothing of a championship in my mind today. I wanted this trophy over here with this brick on it. I want to pucker up and kiss those bricks on the front stretch. It was all about winning a race today. I gave a little bump draft to the 07 down the back stretch. And I knew if I could get position on the 17 right away, then the guys up there in front of me with no tires, just take a little bit of time and I get by them. So just speechless right now. I can't thank Chad Knaus and this race team enough.
Any thoughts of racing heroes as you were riding around here after you took the checkered flag?
Oh, no, not yet. You bring up a good point that I'll think of. Gosh, I just watched so many races as a kid growing up here. I thought I would come here in an Indy car. Grew up in the off-road ranks, idolized Rick Mears, Roger Mears, Robbie Gordon. Those guys all came out of off-road racing into IndyCar, and someday hope to win here in an Indy car. I can't believe that I'm here in a stock car in NASCAR winning the biggest race.
You are here. Congratulations. You've won at Indianapolis.
Thank you so much, Alan. Thank you.
Jimmy Johnson won the Daytona 500 earlier this year. Now he's in victory lane at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's a season in itself. Plus, he's still the championship leader.
That's right. There's Rick Hendrick, his car owner. And somewhere there is a young boy or young girl watching this going, I want to be the next Jimmy Johnson. I want to go win at Indianapolis. Plenty more to come here from the Brickyard, but the NFL returns to NBC tonight for a preview. Let's go to Canton, Ohio, to Bob Costas and Chris Collinsworth for NBC Sports.